We are previewing the Monday Night Football game for Week 3 here at SBR Forum Videos. And, of course, every Monday Night Football game we do with a panel of expert opinions. Now, we have to get this one right on the Monday night game, so we use 2 or more opinions. Right now, we're going to be talking with Scott Kellen from SixCentSports.com and Dave Golokhov from AskMen.com. Thanks, guys, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
All right, it's Seattle at home again as an underdog. Now, last week we saw this same situation. Dallas was about a 3-point favorite. The public pounded Dallas, and Seattle got the easy outright win. We know how hard it is to go to Seattle and get a cover as a road favorite. Let's start with you, Scott Kellen. How is this game any different from what we saw last week?
Well, I think a lot of people have thought that and thought last week, and I thought maybe Dallas had turned the corner, that, Dallas has these lapses, these up and down moments throughout the season, these roller coaster rides that they tend to go on. And I think most people thought maybe this year was going to be different, and like I said, myself included. But then Dallas went in there, and, before they could blink an eye, they were down 10-0. I don't expect the same thing from Green Bay.
Right.
Green Bay doesn't seem to have those type of lapses. I still think this game will be a challenge for the Packers, but I don't expect those types of lapses. So I think you'll at least get the full Green Bay effort, as opposed to, we certainly didn't get that with Dallas last week. We always know we're going to get Seattle at home, especially the home dog, with a full effort. But I think you'll get a full effort from Green Bay. Then the question just becomes, is Green Bay the right side with their full effort, as opposed to that lapse that Dallas had last week?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I'd say the main difference is that Dallas, Green Bay is, like you said, a more solid team. Dave Golokhov, if you had to bet a side in this one, what would you take?
Well, that's a tough call. I would tend to agree with Scott. The other thing I'd throw in is they have a little bit more time to prepare for this game after playing on Thursday night last week, so almost like a bye week for them with extra time to prepare. At the same time, I also do trust the Packers a little bit more than I do trust the Cowboys as far as preparation goes, but there's a big but here, and I would be careful to make any assumptions that Green Bay is the play here. Is that fact that Green Bay is a finesse team. They really are, and that's the difference between Dallas and the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks at home, they're a tough team. They're a smash-mouth team. They're going to pound the ball with Marshawn Lynch. You know they're going to do that. You know they're going to come with a physical effort on defense. With Green Bay, we're not so sure. I mean, this is their first road game of the year. We don't know that they have a reliable running game. If they're just going to go in there with that finesse passing game and try to do what they've done, I'm not sure that that's going to work. I don't particularly like a side in this game, but I'm definitely not sold on Green Bay just because they're finesse like the Cowboys.
All right, that makes sense to me. Scott Kellen, what do you think of that? And what do you think about maybe the under, 46.5?
Yeah, well, and I'll just add one other thing that Dave said, and I'm sure he's aware of this, but the ironic thing here, because I thought the same thing, Dallas also, remember, played that Thursday night of the very first week. So they had, the 10 full days or whatever you want to call it, coming off a win. Green Bay played last Thursday, full 10 days coming off a win. And, of course, Dallas still struggled. And, again, it's probably more of just Dallas, just having those lapses and moments. I agree. I think the under is the play here, Peter. I mean, first of all, we know, there's been a barrage of scoring. The average points scored right now, I think, are 48 points in the league. I track this stuff pretty closely every week of every year. It's usually somewhere around 43 to 44 points on average. So they're well above normal right now. Those tend to come down at some point. Will it be this week? Who knows? So you're getting a pretty high total here, I think, at 46.5. It's over the key numbers, 44, 45, 43, all those numbers. And you've got two good defensive teams here, especially Seattle. We know Seattle's a good defensive team. They've struggled on offense this year. And Green Bay has struggled on offense this year, and they may or may not have Jennings for this game. And last week, obviously Green Bay played very well on defense against the Bears, but Dom Capers made some pretty gutsy changes before the game last week and installed a lot of young guys on defense to play because he was disappointed with the Week 1 effort. Now, whether that was just the Bears being inept or actually making some significant improvements to the defense, hard to tell. But I don't think Seattle's offense is anything that's going to run roughshod over the Packers regardless. So I think the Packers defense can contain Seattle, and they have a below-average offense. And again, Green Bay's offense right now is really struggling a little bit. They're below average with the seasonal numbers, and we know Seattle has a very good defense. And you've got this high total. I make the game 41, so I think there's a good amount of value on the under right now. worst case scenario I see in this game is maybe Green Bay dominates because they are the better team in theory, and they win this game, 27-7, kind of like Seattle did to Dallas last week. Or it stays close and both teams play well. I just don't see a lot of points being scored in this game unless there's, just some freaky turnovers.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Kellen. Dave, do you agree with me and Kellen on the under here?
Yeah, I actually think this is one of the stronger plays of the year so far, the under in this contest. And just to build on what Scott was saying, the Packers offense has struggled, but I would extend their struggles back to last season when, Romeo Crennel and the Kansas City Chiefs seemingly figured them out. They didn't look good in the playoffs. They haven't looked good in the preseason. They didn't look good so far to start this year. I actually thought 23 points against the Chicago Bears was kind of weak considering the amount of turnovers that they got. Then, of course, there's the issues with Aaron Rodgers and James Jones having a little bit of beef, and that's been a storyline the past 10 days. Jermichael Finley, his drops, Greg Jennings and his concussion. Jordy Nelson hasn't looked as good as we thought he would. And the running game, it's a big question mark. So I think teams around the league have figured out the Packers, and I think the odds makers are a little slow to react here. We all kind of look back at this Packers team that won 15 games to start last year and say, hey, they should easily be in the 30s in this type of a situation or any situation any week. But this isn't the same offense, and I think Seattle, their running game and their defense keeps this game well under the number.
Okay, I agree. I think we got it. Under 46.5. Thanks, guys.